Okay, so there are so many different rules and regulations and methods and ways of bringing your Catasetum orchids out of dormancy. And I guess what you have to decide is what type of growing conditions you're growing your orchids in and the type of grower you are, so that you can decide which method is best suited for you. This is the method that I elected to use with my Catasetum type orchids. Now, if you can remember in my past video, this is a semi-terrarium method that I used to rescue some of my orchids in the past. And if you guys did not see the video where I create these terrariums, I'm going to go ahead and post the annotation right here, and you can go ahead and click and view that video also. And I thought this would be an incredible way to also try to encourage and induce the new growth of the Catasetum orchid. And because I have such a heavy hand when it comes to watering orchids, I definitely did not want to take the risk of rotting out the roots or the new growth on this Catasetum. And so what I did here, folks, is I made a simple terrarium using a plastic soda bottle to encourage this new growth by creating humidity and moisture to promote new growth to grow on this Catasetum orchid. Now, the best thing about this, folks, is you can be ensured that you are not going to be giving this Catasetum orchid too much water, and you can also see exactly what is going on with the root system and also the new growth to ensure that there is no rotting that is taking place. And what I did in this method, folks, is as soon as I seen that nubbin growing, I went ahead and put the Catasetum in this terrarium. And of course, I filled the terrarium up right here. And the actual Catasetum is sitting on this plastic cap. It's actually the bottom half of another bottle. And of course, I went ahead and poked so many holes in there so that moisture can indeed rise to the Catasetum orchid. And as you can see here, folks, I actually left the cap off of this bottle. And this is just to allow the air to circulate within this terrarium right here. And also, if we take a close look at the bottom half, you're seeing that water that I filled this container up with. But you're also seeing good spacing in between so as to ensure that the water will not drench into this area at all. And again, this is just to allow the moisture or the humidity within this container. So if this gets any type of moisture at all, it's due to the humidity and not because the water is getting into it directly. So that is a way, again, that this is creating enough moisture, but it's not going to overwater this Catasetum. So what I do is I let this sit, and every so now and again I will remove this top portion right here, just like that, and let it get air as well. And let's go ahead and take a closer look at the little baby nubbin. As you can see, even though the nubbin is not that big, look at all of these healthy roots just growing everywhere. And let me not forget to mention that this Catasetum right here actually produced 2 of them. So indeed, folks, this is my personal method on how I elected to bring my Catasetum type orchids out of the dormancy period. Now, of course, knowing the type of grower that I am and the conditions that I have, this is what was best for me. So what I'm going to do now, folks, is I'm going to wait about a week or 2 before I pot this beautiful family of Catasetums into a pot of sphagnum moss. And then after that, we're going to have to see exactly what transpires from that point on. Okay, folks, and here we are about 2 weeks later after we've started our semi-terrarium method with these Catasetum type orchids right here. Okay, so here we go, folks. We're going to go ahead and remove the top. Okay, folks, and here we are, the entire Catasetum type orchid family taken out of its terrarium. And as you can see when we take a closer look, oh my goodness. Do you see all of these crazy roots growing from every single direction? Look how healthy they are.
Oh my, oh my. All of the roots are now, at least the majority of them, are about 3 inches in length. But you are also seeing that at the base of the keiki itself, you are also seeing all of these new growth of little roots as well. So it is continuing to grow amazingly healthy, I might add, and definitely showing us some good results from this semi-terrarium growing method. Now, if we take a flip around here, to look at the twin brother, oh my, you're also seeing the same thing with all of the crazy roots just really growing here, there, and everywhere. And here's an amazing thing too. At the base of the Catasetum type orchid, keiki, you are still seeing somewhat of a new growth, and I'm not quite sure exactly what that's going to be. If it will become another new growth of a Catasetum keiki, that would be so wonderful. But here's another good news, folks, and quite a wonderful surprise. Now, if we flip this little guy over to its twin brother, we will also see something growing at the base as well. And again, I'm not quite sure what this is either. Perhaps it's going to be a new growth of another Catasetum keiki, which, fingers crossed, I could only hope. And also, if we take a close look at the tip of the keiki, right at the very top, we are beginning to notice a split right there. Do you see it? And what that split is basically the formation and the start of what is soon to become its foliage. So indeed, this little keiki, these little guys are ready to be potted up. So let's go ahead and pot them up already. So what we're going to be using for this potting, of course, is a container. And this container is actually a soda bottle, and it's cut the very bottom half. And as you can see, I poked so many little holes in here for good air ventilation and aeration. And also you can see that I've put in here some styrofoam, and this right here is going to help me stake the actual catasetum up, which I actually used a paper clip in this regard. And what I did is I merely straightened the paper clip up, and then I inserted it into the holes, and then as you can see, I bent it downward to secure it in place. So indeed, that is what we'll be using, the straightened out paper clip to stake and hold the catasetum in place. Also, as you can see, here is a container filled with sphagnum moss and also some bark as well, but the majority in here is sphagnum moss. And the ratio of what I used in this mixture is actually about 75% sphagnum and about 25% bark, also coal, and some perlite. It was actually a mixture that combined all three. Okay folks, so here we are again, the container with styrofoam already in there, and we're just gonna go ahead and reach in here, fill it up at the base. Pretty much, I'm gonna put quite a lot in here because I'm just gonna have that catasetum situated at the very top. So here we are, and here's the catasetum family. And we're really just going to situate it right at the top. I'm not really going to even put too much sphagnum in here. Maybe sprinkle it just a little. I just don't want it to, of course, saturate too much with water where it begins to rot. So basically, that is what I'm going to do. And then afterwards, I'm going to go ahead and secure it in place by, of course, putting this paper clip that has been straightened out, so where it's almost kind of like a wire, and I'm gonna find a good spot that it can hold it up just like that, and we're gonna go ahead and bend it down, and it should secure it in place. And I'm also gonna place a couple of other wire or paper clips in place too as well to hold it. Okay folks, so this is the completed potting up project of this Catasetum type orchid, and as you can see, I really put to good use those paper clip wiring and really secured this Catasetum type orchid down in its container. As you can see, there's really no wiggling and wobbling, and it's safe and secure in its potting media and also in its container. So the wiring really did some good for this Catasetum type orchid. And also, as you guys know, I use sphagnum moss, about 75%, and also a little bit of bark and perlite and coal material in there, about like 25%. And I also lightly moistened the media. Now, as you can also see, I actually put the Catasetum type orchid way above the media, and what I did, even though you cannot see the roots, I sprinkled just a very thin layer. If I just moved to just scratch the surface here, you can indeed see the roots underneath. So it's just a very, very thin layer, and I didn't pack it down, I just sprinkled it over. And the way that I'm going to water this Catasetum type orchid, I'm just going to go ahead and spray it down from time to time, and we shall see how it goes. But I'm so happy to say that so far, so good, folks. So indeed, stay tuned for more. And also, I would like to know how you guys are doing with your Catasetum type orchids in the regards of bringing them out of its dormancy, and what methods did you use and how did it work for you? Definitely want to learn and grow and benefit from your methods as well. I'm being quite adventurous in this and trying to discover new and different methods in hopes of course, attaining the best method possible. And I thank you so much for tuning in to yet another episode of My Orchid Adventure. And if you like this video, please be sure to give it 2 thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos such as this, please be sure to subscribe. Also, if you want to join me on my Facebook adventures as well, at My Orchid Adventures. Also, if you want to send me something via snail mail, you can do that as well at the following address right here. Again, I thank you so much for tuning in to yet another orchid adventure with me, Maria Young. And of course, stay tuned for more. Love you all.